Welcome to the Key to Growth podcast, Home Services Marketing Unlocked, with me, your host, Jen McKee. Every week, I sit down with top marketers in the trades, from the brains behind $100 million companies to those scaling from 1 to 3, even to 10 million, breaking down exactly how they got where they are and uncover the secret to their success. If you're ready to grow your business and get real, actionable insights, you are in the right place. Let's unlock the key to your marketing success starting now. Okay, welcome back to Key Growth Podcast. I'm your host, Jen McKee, and today I'm with Khadija Head, which, oh my gosh, if you have never heard her speak, you're in for such a treat. But also, I'm just so excited to have her here. I've got to build a little relationship with her over the last few months, and it's been great. So, Khadija, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell everybody about you.
Absolutely. So my name's Khadija J Head. I'm a third generation member of Georgia's oldest and most experienced Black-owned plumbing company, Head's Plumbing Sales and Servicing. We're based out of Southwest Atlanta.
Awesome. And I think a great part to know of your story is kind of like, and I know we're talking about marketing here, but just to understand like where you were before you were at Head, which obviously is a part of your family with the same name, but tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. Before I go into that, I don't know when this is airing, but I want to say this is our 1-year anniversary of officially meeting. I'm not mistaken.
You're right. That was a year ago.
Yes.
I know. Yeah.
So this was like my very first introduction. You were like my entryway into truly making marketing in the trade, like something that is attainable, successful, and idea. So I want to, first of all, thank you for having me as your guest. And then also like, thank you for framing my reference on what it's like to be an influencer and someone that's influential when it comes to marketing in the trade. Now, when it comes to my backstory, my last name is the business. My name is Khadija Head. But before I was Chief Leadership Officer at Head's Plumbing, I was actually a Division I women's basketball coach. So I did that for 15 years. I played basketball all throughout middle school, high school. I went on to play at Murray State University on a Division I scholarship. From Murray State, I got my graduate degree at Slippery Rock University. And from there, I knew that at my first day of practice in college at Murray State, I knew that this would be the end for me. There was no hoop dreams as far as becoming a professional athlete for Khadija. I was too slow, too small, and I couldn't score enough points, but I was wise enough to understand that there are great pivots inside of the athletic spectrum. So I knew I wanted to get into coaching. And so my first job, I was an assistant at University of Arkansas. From there, I went to Middle Tennessee State University. From there, I went to the University of Pittsburgh. And last but not least, I was at Kennesaw State University, where I was the head coach. And my alter ego, talking about branding, it was Head Coach Head. So that's kind of the background of my social media handles.
I love that. And so what Khadijah's talking about before that is that we met at a Marketing Pro Summit at Service Titan, where is the first time that I heard Khadija speak. And it was incredible. And she got to tell her story there, which is why I have a little bit of background in it. The reason, and I love your background too, because I think that that probably impacts so much in what you bring to your team now. I come from the restaurant industry, and I always call the people that I work with my team. I know a lot of people use a lot of terms, but to me, that's the one that's the most, it speaks to what we're doing here. And so I'm sure that that impacts a lot, would you say?
Absolutely. I tell everyone that I have the honor to work alongside that they're my teammates. Without them, there is no us. We're just like the name of the business. It takes so many different individuals doing their specific part when we transfer a customer from someone that has a plumbing issue to professionally solving that plumbing issue to circling back around to ending with a Google review. Every person is so important.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so let's talk about marketing. So when you took over, tell us a little bit about like, I know it's you and your brother, right? And you guys took over the family business. So what was the marketing like? What did your parents do? I mean, that was such a different time than what you have now.
Yeah, so our parents, therefore, like their introduction into marketing was the Yellow Pages.
Yeah.
It was, get the book, come in the mail, flip through. Also, when we first started out, we all started at zero. So we had zero customers. So when there were zero jobs on the board with my parents, they would canvas neighborhoods and put flyers on the outside of mailboxes. And then also our phone number, 404-696-3175. It was actually my grandmother's phone number. And so what our parents would do is this is back in the day, landline, so
So
no
y'all
cell
have the
phone.
same phone number.
You
Y'all
have
had this.
the exact same phone number.
That's amazing.
Yeah, since day one. And so what they would do is, so landlines, so cell phones were not a thing. They would transfer the phone at night. So the phone would ring at my grandmother's house during the day, and at night it would ring at my parents' house.
Oh my
And
God.
my dad had a beeper. And so my grandmother would page. My dad would have to go to not a cell phone, but the old school.
Yeah, payphone.
Yeah. And like call and be like, I saw you page me. What's the message? And then
Yeah.
my mother would pass the message, and it went from, yellow pages to, now we have a vehicle. So now they see the vehicle riding around town, to then we have multiple vehicles, and then the introduction of the internet and social media. And it's just been this organic, unplanned growth that is trial by fire. Throw it at the wall, see what sticks, you compound on it, what slides away, just say, hey, at least we tried it.
Right. It sounds like from the beginning, your parents weren't afraid to do what they had to do to make this work. So when you guys took over, had they already switched to digital? They already had a website. They already knew, like they weren't waiting.
No, they weren't waiting. We had a website. It's still like this organic, living, breathing thing where you feel like we're ready for the next iteration.
Yeah.
Of that. And then when it comes with the onset of social media, we understood the importance of grabbing your IP when it came to your company's name. So not even knowing what we're going to do with this thing, but it's important that we own this branding of this thing.
Yeah. Okay. So I want to talk about social media, but I first want to know a little bit about the rebrand that you guys recently did, and how did your family take that? I know that that's such a hard thing for people in general because you get attached to what you've always known. And so tell us a little bit about that.
Absolutely. So our original logo is a stencil that my father drew. So my dad's very artistic. His original trade, he was a welder. And so he needed a brand logo. And so our logo, as you can see now, is still this guy. So it's a stencil that has kind of organically grew from, freehand to, all right, let's put a little bit more sharper lines on it. And then the thought process behind that, it originally had no color.
Mm-hmm.
My parents, they started the business in 1981. So in the heart of, the South, we're in Atlanta, Georgia. And my grandparents were born one generation away from slavery. My parents were born in a segregated South, grew up in the civil rights movement. And so ethnicity is a big thing throughout that culture. When I walk through the African American museums here in Atlanta and DC, the Civil Rights Museum, it jars me because I'm walking through history. But when I walk through those moments with my parents, it's not history, it was their reality.
Yeah.
And so hence
I'm getting just chills listening to you.
Yeah. And it's I love the opportunity and space to speak about it because it's such an important part to our narrative. So long story short, or short story long, our logo had no color because we wanted individuals to trust us as plumbers first. We didn't want them to say, well, this is a Black owned company, so the quality is less than. The end result of that is being a blind plumber is sometimes, my parents, they showed up to the doorstep and they were sometimes politely, sometimes impolitely asked to leave. And sometimes the door was open. Thankfully, where we stand in 2024, we wave the banner of being Georgia's oldest and most experienced Black-owned plumbing company because representation matters. There's an entire generation of change makers that are looking at the plumbing trade through a different lens, and you don't know what's possible for yourself until you see someone else doing it. So that's why it's important for us that now our logo has color. It is a proud Black man because the trade is a profession that is for absolutely everywhere. No race, ethnicity, or gender can determine where you can go with this skill skill set.
Yeah. So, and this doesn't have anything to do with marketing, but I do know that there aren't a lot of people of color in the trades at all. And so, I mean, assume that's a huge part of what you're trying to bring to light, and especially in Atlanta, but I wonder at a national level too.
Yeah, so only 8% of plumbers are Black. And when I talk about that 8%, I'm not talking about the individuals that are business owners. I'm talking about the individuals that are actually performing the skill set. So when you really look at a narrow lens of what Heads Plumbing is and what we represent, we're a Black-owned plumbing company where our leadership, it looks like our community. Our leadership is a smaller part of that niche down 8%. And then if you look at it from a larger lens, when you look at the companies that are small businesses that reach the third and fourth generation, we're also a part of that as well. And so us showing up every day uniquely as ourselves, one, we're understanding that we are representing the generational businesses that tend to fizzle out between generation two, and then also what the different shades of individuals that can be successful in the trade industry.
And a woman-owned business.
Yes. And so all of these things that they compound on each other. And so I wake up every day and, it's my mission. If this was meant for someone else to do, it would be given to them, but it was given to me. So I accept it.
I love that. I'm so happy to have met you here. Okay, so let's get back to marketing a little bit and social media. So I think what's really interesting is that when your parents started this company, they were very intentional about not telling who they were and not telling their story. And with social media, you kind of do the opposite.
Absolutely. I mean,
you're
I'm
telling your story.
Yeah. Like, individuals, when I think about my childhood and I think about what my parents did, like you mentioned, they started the company under a lens of we're not going to make it well known who we are. And then they go on to name their children Odari and Khadija, very pro-Black names. And so it is meant for me to just unapologetically show up as myself each and every day.
Yeah. Okay. So you guys, back to your marketing strategy. Okay. So looking through, you use Instagram a lot, and looking through there's a lot of things that you do in your local community. So, I mean, from the beginning, you can see that was a big part of how Heads has had continued success, is your involvement in the community. So tell us a little bit about what you guys do now, what you think is impactful. I know part of it is around hiring, I'm sure, but then of course, just showing up for your community. I see a lot of really cool things you're even doing in the entrepreneurial space in your community.
Yeah. So when it comes to marketing, yes, Instagram is my preferred social media platform. It's something that I'm very comfortable with. And for me, I want to make sure that individuals know that the people that work for us, plumbing is just something that they do. I want individuals to understand the man or the woman that shows up to their front door prior to them showing up to it. My goal is to make sure that people understand the trades is sexy. It's not like this old stagnant profession where you envision an overweight guy over a tool.
Right.
That's not plumbing. Plumbing is technology. It's iPads, it's iPhones, it's using robots to go through sewers. It's using all of this high-tech technology. And then on the flip side of that is also understanding that I want to be next to a plumber and you have no idea that they are a plumber just because of the way they carry themselves. And when it comes to our hiring practices, we welcome the absolute best. And one thing I want to make sure is when I say we're a Black-owned plumbing company, I also want to show all the different shades of individuals that work for us. We get individuals that call us because they specifically want a Black-owned plumbing company. We have individuals that call us because they want a professional plumbing company. We just happen to be Black. And the same thing with our workforce. What I've learned is that individuals, they want to work for a company and leadership that show that they care first, that care first mentality. And this just happens to be where our package is wrapped up in.
Yeah. There's so many things that you guys are doing. So besides Instagram, what other things are you doing for marketing? How are you getting new customers? I mean, obviously you have your grandma's phone number, which people are still calling, but what percentage of your customers customers are new right now and what percentage are return? And then, I mean, both of those are super impactful for growth.
Yeah. So when I first started with the company in 2021, I would say the bulk of our customer base was just loyal repeat customers where we happen to be their parents, plumber, and now that they are now of home buying age, we are their plumbers because people go with individuals that they know, like, and trust. When it comes to, our marketing, one is really looking at the landscape of Atlanta and understanding, all right, when we look at the city landscape, where is the largest clusters of homeowners that actually live in their home, and really, spearheading those areas because that's information that is out in the census area. So you can look at the zip code and say, hey, in this zip code, are they owner occupied homes or they tend to be rental properties? We don't want to invest that much money in an area where it's tenants occupancy, where we want to be an inch wide and a mile deep in the zip codes where it's owner occupied, because those are the individuals that are going to reinvest their dollars in their community. So we do physical mail towards those zip codes. And then we're also leveraging the audience of others. So what I mean by that, any opportunity I get a chance to speak or be on a podcast or be in an event, I want to be there because it's one thing for organic audience to see us, but anytime I'm involved in someone else's audience, they're introducing us to this completely different retargeted market that has no idea that we exist. We great traction with our relationship with Service Titan in the financial literacy community with Earn Your Leisures, where they have like these immense influential audience that they rebrand our content, they repurpose our content, they help spread our reach, and then also introducing additional services to our current customer base. That's another part of marketing, whether that's through email marketing, Facebook, Instagram, and I am getting into TikTok. 2025 TikTok, I am on the way.
Oh, if it doesn't get banned, let's
right.
Me too. I don't like to talk about it. It's a sore subject. Okay. So I love it. You have totally done a lot of partnerships, especially in the last year. I mean, the first time with Service Titan, and then it's kind of evolved, being on Times Square representing, which was so freaking cool. And so how do you think with this national audience that is really an influencer of other service providers, how does that impact your actual customer business?
Absolutely. So right now, the majority of our new customers, they're like, I saw you on such and such on this. It has nothing to do that originated with Heads Plumbing. It is like we showed up on your Explorer page, or someone took our post and reposted it. And when it comes to like social media and then your marketing strategy specifically, my goal is how can I get someone else to do the heavy lifting?
So how do you find these people? If someone's like, okay, I want to do what Khadija's doing, like, how did you determine, like, I'm going to go after this person? Or is it more of like throw spaghetti and whoever grabs it, like, I'll go with it?
So I look at it from a vantage point of who's my ideal customer. I have that target avatar in my mind. It's a 37-year-old female who is a homeowner that has a 20-minute commute to work and is athletic. So that's my target audience. I want to speak to her. So I want to know where her fishing hole is. I want to know what time of day she's on Instagram in the morning looking for her morning motivation. And she's on Facebook in the evening catching up with her friends. She's on TikTok looking for recipes. Like, I want to be where she is. And when it comes to finding people to do the heavy lifting for me, I try to find out, like, where is the trend? I don't want to be on the beginning of the trend. I don't want to be on the end of the trend. I want to be on that upward hockey stick motion and jump on what's hot and then make it towards my brand. And I want to get that one-time content out, understand, all right, this is the purpose of me relaying this message. I love to comment on the individual social media posts. To me, I can't want people to support me on social media if I'm not also doing that for others. So I repost post others, our heart, I'll give comments, I'll share. It's one thing I can do because individuals are willing to do more for me if they see me take the first step first.
Yes. It's like sometimes it's funny because I spend a lot of time building my personal brand on social media, and there's a lot of things that I do really intentionally. And if you talk about it like that, it feels like it's not sincere.
Mm-hmm.
And it is sincere. It's just another way of building community, but
Absolutely.
it's with intention and it's also marketing.
Yeah, because I'm doing things that I would naturally do. Like I'm not gonna like something that I don't want to associate it.
Yeah, right. I like that. So, what about some of the community things that you guys have been involved in? So, you've done some things, some give back stuff. You've also, it looks like, been involved in some entrepreneurial organizations in your community. Is that right?
Absolutely. So we are a member of Atlanta Business League, is one of the oldest Black organizations here in Atlanta. Our parents were actually inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Oh, that's so
Also,
cool.
I know, right? My parents are superstars.
They're so cool. I could just tell, like, they knew what they were doing from the beginning and they made it happen.
Right. And then also on the local level with PHCC, so Plumbing, Heating, Cooling Contractors Association here in Georgia. I'm a part of the safety committee, so I can also promote our brand that way. When it comes to our community and us giving back, if there's ever an opportunity for us to participate in some way or another, whether it's volunteering our time, volunteering our resources. So we are big advocates with Atlanta Habitat for Humanity, their Repair to Kindness program. Atlanta is a very historical city where people, you were either born here or you flew here. And the people that were born here, the majority of their plumbing is on the lesser end of its lifespan. So we utilize Atlanta Habitat Repair with Kindness program to take care of some of our legacy Atlanta residents. And we also got some special coming down the pipeline. Mum's the word on it, but trust me, it's going to be absolutely fantastic. We picked out the organization that we're going to give this special gift to. We've lined all the ducks in a row. The only thing left is to cross our T's and to dot our I's, but it is important for us to give to our community because like our teammates here, without them, there is no us.
Yeah, for sure. So it sounds like a lot of your marketing is based around relationships and community. Do you guys currently, and do you currently spend money on like just regular digital things like PPC, LSA, Facebook ads, like lead generation sources?
Yeah, so in the real physical world, what we do every year, we send out a calendar, and then we also have a static billboard that is like the entryway.
You send a calendar like who? To your customers?
Yeah, you know what? My parents are like, where's the calendar?
What? Okay, but is it your plumbers in the calendar? I mean, y'all should do like a firefighter calendar, you know?
There is a plumbing company in California, Black-owned plumbing company, that they did that.
Uh-huh.
And it was like...
I feel like you could do it really tastefully, not like the way that we think about firefighter calendars, but it would be so fun and just like unique if you're already making a calendar.
So the thing that I am continuously battling is understanding that everyone is not so forward facing and outgoing
Right.
as Khadija. So I'm always like, this is a great idea. They're like, who you finna put on there?
Right. Like you have to get some like contract signed and like some people to agree to it. But
yeah. But we send out a calendar.
Okay.
And then we have ads in our local magazine. So that's how we touch individuals in the real world when it comes to the digital space. The majority of it is organic. We do have our Google local ad account set up and making sure that, hey, we're targeting the right zip codes for the right services, excluding the areas that we don't want to go into, making sure that it is targeted towards the seasonality of plumbing. In Georgia, we don't do cold weather well. And then in Georgia, we don't do rain well when it comes to the septic system. So we understand the seasonality of those. We're currently building out our email marketing campaign.
Nice.
So that's going to be one of our initiatives for 2025, is to really become a true proactive.
Yeah. I love hearing from you because I know your goals and I can see how much much opportunity you still have available to you to really do some amazing things. And honestly, I can't let go of that calendar idea, because if you're already making a calendar, like, this is such a good idea. Because, and I'm just going to say this one thing. So I know anybody who's listening to this, and I'm sure you've experienced this, but you struggle to get people to be on your social media, to like be a part of your videos. But then once they are a part of them, they appreciate the attention, and other people want to be a part of it too, because they're like, well, how come you always have him on the videos and not me? And so I feel like the calendar would be the same thing, where it would be like, you could get a couple people to commit to it, and then the next year everyone would be like, well, what about me on the calendar? How come you didn't have me on there? So I do feel like you could do that. And I'm not sure that it would, like, you know, bring in an extra $1 million next year, but I do think it could get you a lot of attention, which is also a good
That's
thing.
the goal.
And people would keep it. They would put it up. It would be great.
It's good for a whole year, 365 days.
I know. It's like everyday marketing. I love that.
And I actually did a soft launch of getting everyone comfortable for the holiday season. I was very intentional about putting our employees in our magazine ad, and I put it on the whiteboard, and one of the guys came in. He was like, oh, that's me. And he's a guy like I really want to market. And I was like, oh, you should take that home.
Yeah, exactly.
Show your wife.
Right. I love that. Okay, so we are getting to the end of our time, but the one question that I really love to ask, is there a key to your success in marketing? Is there one thing, or what is the key to y'all's marketing success?
So the key to our marketing success is truly knowing who we are, having like this narrow vision of how you want people to speak about you individually, and then your company's brand as a whole when you're not around, because it's easy for you to frame the narrative in the presence of another individual. The goal is for individuals to know who you are before they need you, so they don't run to Google for plumbers near me. They run to headsplumbing.com. That's the goal. I don't want you to leave it up to Google to be able to find my company. I want you to know, like, and trust us. And the way you know, like, and trust us is, you know, I have your mind share, you know, Georgia's oldest and most experienced Black-owned plumbing company. The only name that comes to mind is Heads Plumbing. We want to make sure that our brand colors, if you just see the truck go by very quickly and you don't read the name on the truck, you know that's a Heads Plumbing truck. When you hear my voice without seeing my face, you know, wow, that's Khadija from Heads Plumbing. I want to captivate my audience, because every person that calls us, they're calling us because they have an emergency. They're not calling me just to say hello.
Right. They call you because they need you.
They need me.
So, okay, tell everybody where they can find you and where they can find Head Plumbing to see what you guys are up to.
Absolutely. So if you are in the metro Atlanta area, no matter if you're outside of 285, inside of 285, call 404-696-3175. We will get a licensed, experienced plumbing technician that may or may not be in a calendar coming soon to your front door. If you are looking for tips, tricks, or want some insight to what it's like to be a technician in the plumbing industry in specific, follow us on Instagram. We're at heads_plumbing. Same thing on Facebook. And if TikTok does not get banned, you can also find us on TikTok. Best way to interact with us is 1, listen to this podcast episode, 2, share this podcast episode with someone that you know, and 3, listen to the other episodes. Jen has some great content. We got to support the individuals that are taking a chance on themselves. Education is key, and the best way to educate yourself is to listen to some good each and every day.
I love it. Thank you so much. And I appreciate you being here. This was a great story.
Thanks for having me.
Bye-bye.